Opinionist, Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. I've been chomping at the bit to get home all day because I wanted to talk about this article. Johnathan Capehart, hypocrite is thy name. Johnathan Capehart. Trump could care less about Comey mess he created. He cares only about himself. Capehart is hurt by this. He's absolutely hurt by Trump, only caring about himself. I find this article to be amazing because it's the Rachel Maddow effect, the Bill Maher effect, the Johnathan Capehart effect. All of this bad stuff just started happening when Donald Trump took office. No, we didn't have 8 years of a failure. That never took place. The United States fell off a cliff the moment that Donald Trump put his hands on the wheel of the bus. Certainly, they don't realize how ridiculous they are. They don't. And I look at these stories, and I have to be honest, these stories aggravate the shit out of me. Like I said, my wife told me this, was like, hey, I want you to hear this song. And it was some guy whining for 3 minutes about how the world changed when Donald Trump took office and how it hurt his feelings. He was a snowflake. It was too painful for him. It's like, come on, come on, come on. You understand that this stuff is a propagation of the prior presidency. Capehart, Maddow, Bill Maher, they would never understand it. They're part of the Democratic circle, meaning they're in that bubble. Nothing penetrates the liberal bubble at that point. Not even facts, not even information, not even objective reality. Oh my God, that guy who's not part of our team is now doing stuff that our team members were doing and I don't like it. So I need to flag him on something. It's amazing. This article is entirely full of ridiculousness. And I'm saying this, I don't like Trump. So understand, when I'm saying this, I am saying this in spite of Trump. This article is ridiculous. This article is ridiculous. Johnathan Capehart puts out ridiculous stuff like this all the time. Completely gives Democrats a pass. Day in, day out, day in and day out. It's amazing that you can get up in the morning with that amount of shame and still write something about the other party. Completely giving your own party a pass. What's the difference between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton? Capehart asks. He's president of the United States. She isn't. He's under investigation by the FBI. She isn't. Now, I like that one, because Hillary Clinton was under investigation by the FBI for years. Capehart didn't care about that investigation. Rachel Maddow didn't care about that investigation. Bill Maher didn't care about that investigation. Democrats didn't care about that investigation. But she was under investigation. So it's amazing that he's putting this in his item. Hillary Clinton is not under investigation. No, she's not now. Not at this very moment. Should she have been locked up? Yes. Yes. She skated on the law. So the idea that you're going to put Hillary Clinton is under investigation, Trump is. It's like, you didn't say shit about it when she was under investigation, so don't say shit about it now. She isn't. And those two differences explain why Republicans, especially those in the White House, were foolish to think that Democrats would not criticize the firing of FBI Director James Comey. Now, I'm pretty sure if I look back, Capehart was one of those people howling at the moon about Comey. Now he is hurt that Comey is leaving, that Trump fired Comey. He's like, oh, how dare you, sir? How dare you fire Comey? You mean the one who lost Clinton the election? Well, that was then. When I was talking about Comey coming out with that letter that hurt Hillary Clinton, yes, that was a different time. Now I'm talking about Comey because he's doing an investigation of Trump. So now, yes, I don't want Comey to leave that office. Where do you put your stake in the ground? Tell me, where do you put your stake in the ground? Where's your moral center? Meaning, this is what I believe in. This is where I stand. The stuff that happens may happen around me, but this is where I stand. I'm not in a situation where I'm a balloon floating in the wind that when it's somebody who I don't like, even though my guy was doing the exact same thing, I'm going to take shots at him, but not take shots at the guy who's doing the exact same thing. Come on, dude. What Trump, and one more thing, why don't you believe that the Republicans weren't going to criticize him? Where did you get that from? You made that up out of whole cloth. She isn't. And those two differences explain why Republicans, especially those in the White House, were foolish to think that Democrats would not criticize the firing of FBI Comey. Why do you believe that they were shocked that people would complain about that? I don't know where you get that from. I mean, ultimately, the parties themselves make hay out of some anything. The Democratic Party has been running around the country screaming into every microphone that they could find that there was some collusion between Trump and Russia, even though they can't materialize the evidence for that particular collusion. So, this idea that all of a sudden they just didn't know, it was like, we're shocked that the Democratic Party is criticizing us about this. Why do you think they're shocked? That's something you just threw in. What Trump did got immediate Democratic pushback because it was a blow to the foundation of American democracy. The rule of law. The president with profound respect for the Constitution, not to mention the good sense, political or otherwise, wouldn't dare do what Trump did. Especially that president's campaign being investigated, led by the FBI for possible collusion with Russia. And the reverential commander-in-chief, most definitely, wouldn't even think of threatening the man he fired with retaliation. Hey, newsflash, he is the commander-in-chief. He is the president. And yes, he did threaten that guy. So what are you talking about? They're saying they wouldn't think of doing that. No, he did that. He did do that. Question, Capehart. Question. Honest question. Pretend you're not with your liberal followers. Pretend that the illusion that you persist in with these democratic stuff, Democrats and all, pretend that's not there. It's just you and I, man to man. Do you honestly believe that the policies Obama put in place were somehow good for democracy? Do you honestly believe that the policies Obama was doing somehow preserved the democracy? That you're talking about Trump struck in the face. Trump beat the hell out of democracy. Do you honestly believe that Obama held up to the standard that you're pushing out? Because again, these aren't things that you said about Obama. The National Defense Authorization Act allowing us to use military on home soil, and lock American up indefinitely. Do you honestly believe, is that an undermining of democracy or not, Capehart? Is that an undermining of democracy? Let's keep going. What about attacking the press? What about using the Espionage Act to lock people up who is putting out whistleblowing information? What about selling the country down the river with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have undermined the sovereignty of this nation? What about taking millions in bribes and then not taking the guys who crashed the economy to court? What about not prosecuting the previous president? We can go on and on with this. What about murdering drone strikes with those drone strikes? What about murdering civilians, including Americans, including a child? Tell me, Capehart. Explain to me all of these things that you believe that the prior president did that was just fucking awesome for democracy. But Donald Trump is doing, that is undermining, was a blow to the foundation of American democracy. Explain to me these things. Explain to me why the things that I just mentioned were somehow fucking awesome for democracy. Explain to me that. That's what I'm fundamentally missing. That's what I'm fundamentally missing. Those are the things that I don't understand. Explain to me these things. You're seeing the world in a way that I don't see the world. When I know that a lot of the power that was accrued in an office was done so in the Obama administration, then when you're saying this stuff about a dictator and this guy taking a blow to democracy, why didn't you say the previous guy did a blow to democracy? When Obama sent Eric Holder out, and Eric Holder made this argument that essentially the president does not need judicial authority to murder civilians abroad. He doesn't need it. The president, the executive branch, in and of itself, has the capacity to come to particular conclusions about whether or not they can murder somebody. Where is your article talking about the blow to democracy? I am in the dark about your particular articles talking about a blow to democracy when your guy was in office doing these things. This is the point I'm getting at. I get absolutely annoyed when I hear these liberals, when I hear these Democrats, these shills, and I'm not talking about just the Hillary people, just shills in general for the Democratic Party, act as if the world is somehow anew now that Donald Trump in this office. And all of a sudden, all these things that they had turned a 10 ear to and a blind eye to, all of a sudden they're Johnny on the spot. Hey, he's striking democracy in the face. I don't like this. I don't like him punching democracy in the face. What about the other guys? I didn't see anybody punch anybody in the face in the last administration. This is new. This is a new phenomenon. This just started happening when Donald Trump took office. It's pathetic, man. I'm sorry. It's pathetic. you write these little pieces. And I call them little because ultimately you don't give the full context of the story. If I read this, I would somehow think that the Democrat was somehow better. But particularly if I'm looking at your content and I'm not seeing anything being overly critical of Obama's policies. Particularly policies that were absolutely undermining democracy. I didn't see those things. But now you're telling me that all of a sudden you're very hyped up about this stuff. This stuff is very important to you now. It wasn't important to you in the last 8 years, but right now, for some reason, nobody can, figure out Democrats are concerned about these things. I don't get it. I don't get it. Just to finish it out. The silence from Republican leadership in the face of Trump's appalling front to the Constitution's rank hypocrisy, compared to their high-pitched howling over the former President Bill Clinton impromptu tarmac meeting in Phoenix. When Eric Snowden released those files, and it showed mass surveillance, tell me, Capehart, you were for the TPP. What side were you on? Is Snowden a hero, or do you believe that the information that he released is problematic? The reason I'm asking this is, the whole point of a whistleblower is to release information showing waste, fraud, and abuse. Not only did what he revealed was abuse, he showed mass surveillance across the United States. Nobody gave him that power. The government took that power. They didn't ask. They just took. He revealed something that was absolutely illegal. If you're not functioning under the law, if you're not functioning under the Constitution, to what degree are you functioning? What is your basis for functioning? The Congress, the presidency, the government draws its power from the consent of the people being governed. The Constitution is the embodiment of that particular document saying these are our agreements, these are the things that we're okay with as a society. If what you're doing is not tethered to that particular document, then what the hell are you doing and who's giving you the authority to do it? Capehart, was this a big deal to you? That is literally a blow to the foundation of democracy. Was the mass surveillance a big issue to you? Did you write something like this saying Obama was striking a blow at democracy? Obama sucker punched democracy. Obama stabbed democracy in the back. Which he did. The TPP was a betrayal. The TPP was probably the worst betrayal in this country's history. Literally. I mean, you're literally saying you're okay with giving up sovereignty. And I have to ask Capehart about the TPP. And he was all on board for it. He thought it was fucking awesome. You're like, wait a minute. A trade protection deal that would have literally undermined the laws of this particular government is just fucking awesome to you. No wonder you'd write something like this with a blind eye towards the reality of the situation in regards to the context. That context being the party that you yourself represent, that you shield for, that you write ridiculous stuff like this for. This idea that that party is somehow different, it's amazing. It's amazing. And it bespeaks of this massive bubble to which you exist, with you and your ilk. Rachel Maddow. What's the other person's name? Rachel Maddow. All these other liberal Democrats. Bill Maher. Just line up and they would say stuff. They would parrot stuff. All of a sudden, they're aware to the world around them. They see the vagaries of the world that for whatever reason that nobody can put their finger on and no particular person can articulate, why those Democrats were so asleep in the last 8 years under Obama, but they are wide awake now, like being hit in the face with an airbag, with Trump. This rings hollow to me because it's selective and it's biased. It's one thing if you wrote this during both terms, then both administrations. You did not. You chose administration. You align yourself with a particular administration. You align yourself with a particular party. Meaning each and everything that you put out is put through the lens of that particular party to which you align yourself with, including this. Including this. Meaning, you're putting out all this stuff of how he's a front to democracy. I don't remember these articles coming out about Obama being the same. That's what I'm getting at, Capehart. This is bias. It may not necessarily be fake news, but it damn sure doesn't give context to the wider reality of the situation in regards to these parties. And like Maddow, like Bill Maher, it's part of the problem. It's part of the problem. People need context, and they need to realize that these parties are the problem. These parties are the problem. These parties are the things that are preventing you from getting into the substructure. These crab claws on the outside, on the outskirts, that tries to, put propaganda into people's mind about stuff. Yeah, you're going to get the Capeharts. You're going to get the Mad Owls. You're going to get these people who are doing these little articles in these news organizations. You're going to get those people. Because those people, for the most part, live off that particular system, do well under that particular system, and can make a living supporting democratic policies. Even when those policies are ghastly. Even though those policies are ghastly. Meaning, this is not a situation where you're going to get context and honest opinion. You're going to get propaganda from the Democratic Party put through the lens of whoever's writing it. I'm making the point, this propaganda put through the lens of who's ever writing it. You're not getting a fair portrayal. You're not getting honest context. If you can look at this and you can point out and say, well, wait a minute, you're complaining about this, but you didn't complain about this in the last 8 years. Then you have to ask the next question. Why didn't you complain about it in the last 8 years? And if you didn't, how can I believe anything that you're putting out? That's where I'm at. How can I believe anything you're putting out? It's one-sided. It's biased. Is Trump a goblin? Yes, Trump is a goddamn goblin. Was Hillary Clinton going to be just as bad? Yeah, she might have been worse. She might have started a war. There was no good choice. My issue with this is the obliviousness to the past 8 years. That's what I'm getting at. You're being oblivious to one, but you're wide awake to the other. And certainly you can see there's a problem when the obliviousness just gets a free pass, and the only thing that you can see is the new stuff. The stuff that's not affiliated with you. You don't see the old stuff. You see the new stuff. The people in your audience are seeing you talk about the new stuff. The people in your audience may not necessarily realize that the perspective you're giving them is skewed to the party to which you're affiliated. Now, yes, they're going to know it's Democrat. But it goes beyond being skewed to the point of a Democrat. It's going to be skewed purely through the perspective of a party, if that makes sense. If that makes sense. Yes, you're towing the line. But no, implicit in your articles, because you don't talk about the Democrats in the same way, is that the Democratic Party is just fucking awesome. The Democratic Party is a dumpster fire also. So if you're aligning yourself with the dumpster fire in order to attack another dumpster fire, then yeah, I weigh your opinion with a huge amount of skepticism. I put it that way. So I'll leave it at that. Alright guys, if you enjoyed the content, feel free to share, like, subscribe, and you can always support the work through Patreon.